My favorite part of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go through. Let's hop into a 2023 fantasy football draft. Underdog just launched a new tournament. They just launched the Poodle. I thought we were getting in Best Ball Mania. Hell, I don't know what's up with the Poodle, but we're going to check it out. So it is a $7 buy-in. It is a $150,000 prize pool. $30,000 to first place, $15,000 to second place, $7,500 for third place. So I'm sorry, of course, since I'm going to be entering in this tournament, y'all will not have a shot for the $30,000 first place prize, but hell, second place can't be too bad at $15,000. So don't sit here and cry whenever we win this. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's hop in here. Gonna be super excited to do this. And thank you so much for everybody coming out and hanging out with us right away. We got Mike out here, Mark Word, always out, YP Creations, always out here as well. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I told you we were winning this, right? What did I say? You thought I was joking. We're getting the 101. This is about the best thing that you could ask for. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We have Scott, Jeep Guy, both out as well. And yeah, at pick one, I mean, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to lock in Justin Jefferson, see what makes it back around to us at the 2-3 turn. But, oh, this is going to be exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Enoch says he's out here at pick 4. We have Austin at pick 8. Nolan at pick 10 says we're doomed. My man, I ain't worried if you're over there at 10. We're good. We're chilling. Radius out here, Casey out here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate y'all. Connor's in here at the 112 as well. So let's go ahead and let's get this bad boy going. We are just going to go and queue up Justin Jefferson here. We don't even have to queue him. We're just going to draft him. We're good to go. Jefferson off the board at 1. Can never have too much Justin Jefferson in your life. And of course, real quick, if you don't know what this is Underdog Fantasy. If you don't know what this is, you've definitely been living under a rock for the past 3 years. But this is where we drafted over 700 teams last year, won over $150,000 last year. It's best ball, so there's no time commitment at all during the season. Your best starting lineup automatically gets submitted for you at the end of every week. It's 18 rounds, so there's no waiver wire. I mean, in my mind, by far and away the best place to play fantasy football, and we will be drafting over 700 teams on the live stream again this year. We're doing this every single day, and if you want to get one of these drafts, if you want to go get in the Poodle, $7 buy-in, $150,000 prize pool, you can find the link in the description, comment section, or live chat. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get a 100% deposit match. Not only a 100% deposit match, but at the same time, my 2023 fantasy football rankings. If you're a member of flockfantasy.com as well, you have some exclusive merch going in your direction. But Dev says, Mason, someone just went Tyreek at the 101 in my Poodle. Tyreek goes pick 2 here. Did something happen with Tyreek Hill today? Mitchell says Tyreek just went 101 in my Poodle. I'm assuming maybe y'all are in the same draft. Obviously, Tyreek goes pick 2 here. Did something happen with Tyreek Hill? Joshua says he's the one who took Tyreek Hill 101. Interesting, my man. Oh, my gosh. What went down? Joshua says going for something here. Interesting. Keep me updated, my friend. Keep me updated. Okay. In this draft, we have Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra St. Brown both going over Eckler and Jonathan Taylor. Like I said, I understand, yes, we want to be trying to grab a wide receiver if we can at the 1-2 turn. Y'all know I'm all about trying to grab a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. But personally, I can't bring myself to draft either Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown over JT or Austin Eckler. So I'm not going to have much Wilson or St. Brown this year. And Jonathan Taylor is actually one of my most drafted running backs right now, just because you are getting him in round 2 in almost every single draft. But interesting. Paul says he's going for the Miami-Baltimore stack. That's what I figured. I figured you were going to go Lamar and Andrews at the 1-2 turn. So Mahomes goes pick 18 to stack with Travis Kelce. Olave goes as high as 16 here in this draft. Definitely a unique combo to have both Devontae Adams and Chris Olave. I don't think too many people are going to have that start. Waddle off the board. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully we get something good. I mean, we had some strong values making it to us in the draft yesterday, right? This team took Christian McCaffrey at pick 5. Cody says, took Kelsey at pick 9. Should I take Mahomes at 16? That's what the majority of people are doing. The majority of people are going through and stacking Kelsey and Mahomes together. Personally, I have not done that this year. I mean, personally, I'm not taking too much Kelsey, Mahomes, just because I'd prefer to have a wide receiver if we can. Now Higgins off the board. So now it's probably not going to be likely that we're taking a wide receiver here unless we want to reach on DK Metcalf. Stone Buck on the clock. Goes Nick Chubb, pick 22. So we're definitely going to get, I don't want to say too much. I'm not going to say too much. We'll see what happens. This team took Tyreek Hill. What are they doing? They go Josh Allen, so we're going to go Jalen Hurts and Tony Pollard. Y'all know I have not been drafting much Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, but that's because they usually go in the middle of round 2. If we can get them at this point where you already have Waddle, Smith, Higgins all off the board, I'll pull the trigger. And at the same time, I think this will be a unique combo. You saw that Jalen Hurts has an ADP of around like 19 to 20. You also have Tony Pollard going usually 21 to 22. So if we're going to be looking at this, I think the amount of teams that are going to be able to start Jefferson, Hurts, Pollard out the gate going to be pretty damn slim. So I'm excited to have this start. I definitely think it's unique, but obviously we're going to have to do a pretty good job of finding values that we like later on. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Mark asking, is this a poodle or a best ball mania? This is a poodle draft, my friend. Alex says, got Jonathan Taylor end of the second round somehow with Cooper Kupp. Oh, that is beautiful, 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 my friend. And then Joshua says, Miami, Baltimore, week 17 stack. Don't have one of these yet. Have nearly 80 drafts. Personally, I'm not caring too much about week 17 correlation. I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to get as many pairs of teammates as I can and definitely have exposures to specific offenses. I'm not worrying about my week 17 bringbacks. If they naturally fall to us at ADP, sure, we'll take it. But Teresa says, greetings from Madrid. We want Underdog in Europe. I'm sorry. I don't even know. I think we actually asked what y'all had in Europe, and y'all said like ESPN fantasy and stuff. And oh yeah, real quick, if you don't know where Underdog is available in, I mean, available pretty much everywhere. The black states, it's not. It's available everywhere in Canada except Ontario. But yeah, if you're looking at this map, the blacked out states, Louisiana, Nevada, Idaho, Washington, Michigan, Connecticut. Not available there, not available in Hawaii, but available pretty much everywhere else. Okay. Now, JPZ says, difference in the Poodle versus Best Ball. So Best Ball Mania is just a larger tournament. So Best Ball Mania is a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. And also there's regular season prizes. I believe there are no regular season prizes here in the Poodle draft. That it's just going to be for the fantasy football playoff tournament, like a regular fantasy league. Yoda says, just signed up with promo code FLOCK. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. Okay. Now we have Calvin Ridley off the board at 38. Jahmyr Gibbs goes 37. So not too much to discuss here. I mean, is there anything that stands out so far? I guess you have Travis Etienne and Ramondre Stevenson both going ahead of Breece Hall here. The team at 7 is yet to take a wide receiver 3 rounds in, so going to be interested to see how that team turns out. Okay. Jeep guy says, Murph tomorrow feeling confident, question mark. Oh, my man. You have no idea. You have no idea how stressed I am. No idea. I'm hoping. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if y'all know this. I just recently moved, so have been working a lot and was hanging up a bunch of stuff yesterday, and I dropped a hammer on my ankle. And oh, it is in pain, ladies and gentlemen. I have a massive bruise on my ankle now and not feeling too good about it. But the autumn heat's gone. Mahomes, okay, I had Mahomes, Hall, DJ Moore, Travis Kelce. Justin Fields goes off the board 43. Great value on Justin Fields. Would have been difficult for us to take Fields, obviously, when we take Jalen Hurts. So, I mean, it's kind of good for us to see him go off the board. I honestly probably would have rather seen him go to a team that had another elite level quarterback to see if it was going to slide the rest of the quarterbacks up this draft board. Yeah, not ideal, my friend. Not ideal. Okay, so Judy goes pick 44. Keenan Allen 45. Okay, so the thing is, I don't want to say too much. But if we were to take Burrow here, maybe we could go Burrow, Mixon on the way back, Burrow, Mixon, and then have a super unique combo. Right? Be one thing that we're looking at. We'll see. We'll see. Titan, it goes Hawkinson. Okay, of course, I'm not freaking taking Burrow. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take a couple wide receivers. We're going to take Terry McLaurin as well as Christian Kirk. I have drafted legitimately no Kenneth Walker this year. I think I checked yesterday and I had like 2 to 3% Kenneth Walker. So yeah, we're just going to lock in a couple wide receivers. I mean, usually y'all know I'm trying to grab another wide receiver if we can there at the 2-3 turn. But I mean, you got Higgins, Smith, and Waddle and Olave already all off the board. So taking Jalen Hurts, Pollard definitely sets us up in a position to grab wide receivers here at the 4-5 turn. Chief Smoke says, got to get Mike Evans at the next turn because of the thumbnail. Thank you for reminding me, my man. Definitely, if we can, we will. But Michael Pittman going off the board, pick 51. Peanut Butter Waivers, happy to see you out here, my friend. John says, why not Kenneth Walker? Kenneth Walker was actually my second most drafted running back in fantasy drafts last year behind Josh Jacobs. But that's because we were getting Kenneth Walker at the 9-10 turn. Now you're having to pay the premium and take Kenneth Walker here at the 4-5 turn. And in my mind, it's a more crowded backfield. I was looking at Kenneth Walker last season going, okay, well, hell, if we're going to get this guy in the 9th, 10th round and the most injury-prone running back in the NFL and Rashad Penny's right in front of him, and he's the most recent investment by this coaching staff into the running back position, it's a no-brainer to draft Kenneth Walker as much as you possibly can. But now, if you're looking at Kenneth Walker, the most recent investment that this coaching staff's made into the running back position has been with Zach Charbonnet in the second round. Second round draft capital is a lot at the running back position. Zach Charbonnet checks almost every single box as well. So, I mean, I'm fine with Kenneth Walker, but the thing is, I just can't really take him in this range. I think it's going to be a running back 1A, running back 1B situation in Seattle. I don't perceive him to be a 3-down player. So I'm sorry, not a 3-down player. I don't perceive him as a workhorse back given the investment that you saw the Seattle Seahawks making to Zach Charbonnet. Sean coming out with the donation. Thank you so much, my man. Says, what do you think of Calvin Ridley this year? Would you pick Cooper or Christian Watson over him? I honestly probably would select Amari Cooper over Calvin Ridley. In terms of Christian Watson, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but obviously a lot of people are all in on Calvin Ridley. I mean, I feel like we talked about him every single draft. I would love to be a big Calvin Ridley guy. I would love to go all in on Ridley. And I thought I would, but I'm kind of surprised to see how everybody else is valuing him, right? I mean, everybody else is willing to go all in right now with no hesitations. Okay. YP Creation says DJ Moore could be a league winner if he turns into Diggs, AJ Brown player with the quarterback upgrade. Okay, my friend. Okay. Kyle Pitts off the board here at 64. That's the same team that took Mark Andrews, so that is one interesting thing to note. Okay. So if Evans makes it, Hoop State member of the flock on the clock has Lamar, Barkley, Sanders, AJ Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins. Goes Mike Evans, so sadly we're not going to be able to get Mike Evans to get the thumbnail equity, but it is what it is. We have a question coming out from Mark. Says, what's your exposure for Calvin Ridley? I'll pull this up, my friend. Matthew is coming out. Says, hey, Mason, do you max out the $5 and $7 contest? No, I do not. I'll max out Best Ball Mania. I don't really max out any contest, to be honest, outside of Best Ball Mania. I mean, I enter in a ton of all of them. Like I said, last year I drafted over 700 teams, but I haven't maxed out a single tournament contest on Underdog so far. Like, I don't go in with the plan saying I need to make sure that I'm maxing it out. I just go in and draft as many teams as I can during the time it's open, but I don't force anything. Calvin Ridley, I have 2% Calvin Ridley, so I guess I'm not drafting Calvin Ridley at all. Yeah, I barely have any Calvin Ridley. Sean says thumbnail stack is dead, sadly. I mean, it would have been crazy if we had Mike Evans falling this far anyway. Okay, so what will be on the way back around for us? Our next 2 picks will be 96, 97. In that range, I know what we're wanting to do, so we need to set ourselves up with the ability to pull it off. Kadarius Toney goes, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a couple wide receivers. We're going to take George Pickens and Treylon Burks. The primary reason for this is if you look at the wide receivers that will be available to us at the 8-9 turn, those players will be Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, Jamison Williams. I do not want to be taking wide receivers there. I'll go ahead and I'll quote-unquote reach a little bit on grabbing a couple year 2 guys in this range, and I'm going to be fine doing so as well. But if we're looking for any stacks that we could have with Jalen Hurts, would be really nice if we would have had Dallas Goedert making it to us. But now that Goddard's not there, I mean, not really much we could do. We didn't even get the ability to take DeAndre Swift. If Swift would have made it to us at pick 72, 73, sure, we would have done it. But at the end of the day, I'm completely fine going through and just taking a Jalen Hurts here unstacked, given the fact that you could see a couple massive spike weeks come from Jalen Hurts with his rushing production, right? I mean, you could see Jalen Hurts go out there and provide you, say, 40 to 50, say 60 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single week, where maybe you don't even get a massive spike week from either A.J. Brown, Smith, or Dallas Goedert, but Jalen Hurts still turns into a league winner. So, I mean, it would be a little bit different if it was a quarterback that's going to be like a pocket passing option like Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow, you need to have a Cincinnati Bengal. With Jalen Hurts, I'm fine not having an Eagle. Of course, we'd love to have an Eagle if we had a value falling to us, but sometimes it doesn't have it. Okay. Brian says, just got Tyreek and Waddle with the first 2 picks in my draft. Yeah, you used to be able to get that a little easier than you can now. It seems like now it's a lot harder to get that pairing. Okay, Hollywood Brown goes 79. I've taken a decent amount of Hollywood, if I'm going to be honest. Jeep Guy says, people upset about you picking Pickens over Deontay. Deontay was probably one of my biggest misses last season. Like, I took a lot of Deontay Johnson, where a lot of people were worried about Ben Roethlisberger leaving and the targets no longer being there for Deontay. And I was like, okay, well, no. I mean, you earn targets. You're probably going to do it the next season. So I went in on Deontay Johnson. Like, I took a lot of Deontay last season, thinking the targets were going to stay. The targets did stay, but at the same time, I mean, at the end of the day, he was just the least efficient wide receiver in the entire NFL with those targets. So, I mean, it's difficult to sit here and say that we should run it back with Deontay Johnson. Usually I'm a guy to bet on targets, but when you're the least efficient wide receiver in the entire NFL, at some point I'm willing to sit here and say, okay, well, it's probably not happening, right? Dotson goes 87. So, yeah, I mean, you're about to have that teardrop at wide receiver. So, Zay Flowers may be one of the last guys that you can assume in this tier at the position. And that's why I wanted to go through, and that's why I wanted to make sure that we were grabbing the wide receivers in the last round. Because since we have, I mean, Jefferson, McLaurin, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, and Treylon Burks, it's not like we have to take a wide receiver here. Flowers goes 89. Let me know what y'all think of Michael Thomas. Because obviously Michael Thomas is a player that has an incredibly high ceiling. Like the last time you saw Michael Thomas fully healthy, he was the #1 overall wide receiver in fantasy. But at the same time, the last time you saw him fully healthy, it was 2019. So I don't necessarily know how predictive that is going forward. Jeep Guy says he likes him this year. Elijah says can't trust him. Jake says, only grabbing Michael Thomas if I get Olave. I have something similar, my friend, and I will maybe do that at the turn here, depending on what happens. Cortland Sutton goes, y'all know I wouldn't draft Cortland Sutton in a million years. We weren't doing it last year. I see no reason to this year. Okay, so Eno on the clock. Anthony Richardson, best player according to ADP, but Richardson, it's kind of funny. He's skyrocketed up to having an ADP of 84, and since then you've kind of seen Anthony Richardson falling consistently behind ADP now. Alvin Kamara goes 93, so that's the primary driver with me taking Michael Thomas, is if I'm here at like the 8-9 turn and I go, okay, I really don't know what to do. Let me just go ahead and grab the combo of Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. Dak Prescott goes 94. Dak Prescott would have been a player we would have taken if he would have made it to us, so we could have paired him up with Tony Pollard. At this point, we are in a very difficult position. I mean, there are not too many guys that I'm that excited about, right? I think Anthony Richardson's probably a selection here. We're going to be done at 2 quarterbacks. Just because we have Kamara going. I mean, I feel like that is going to be a tier drop at running back for us. Haven't taken a lot of Zach Charbonnet, but maybe this is a player that we can take at this pick. Maybe we go Michael Thomas and then stop drafting wide receivers. Richardson's definitely a pick for us here, but let me know, who else do you want? Who do you want here at pick 97? Are you wanting Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman, Kirk Cousins? I'm not taking Jameson. Zach Charbonnet. We can't even take Cousins either. I know a lot of people would say take Cousins, pair up with Jefferson. Every Jefferson team is going to have Cousins. I don't necessarily think we need to do that. Okay, so we have leave me Zach Charbonnet, Thomas, and Njoku, Michael Thomas, Charbonnet, Elijah Moore, Bateman, not Charbonnet. Okay, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I guess I should have known that there was a 30-second clock. So it looks like we're getting Michael Thomas here. Be honest with you, not too excited about it, but YP Creation says MT sadly. April says not Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, it is weird in that I feel like I haven't drafted much Zach Charbonnet either. Y'all know I was saying that I haven't really taken any Kenneth Walker. I mean, Zach Charbonnet is also someone that I really haven't been drafting. I feel like just the cost of getting both backs is pretty damn high if we're considering the fact this is a team that's probably going to go through and throw the ball often. Real quick, give me 1 second. I'm actually going to go let someone in. It'll literally take me 1 second. I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we get a lot of wide receivers going off the board. I mean, that is what we're looking for. So Odell goes 104, Bateman 102, Jameson, Tyler Boyd all off. The thing is, like, taking Michael Thomas just feels so damn gross in that how many times do we have to draft this guy to just realize he's a complete zero, right? Jeep Guy says, let's see that beautiful girl you're living with. In parentheses, your dog. Yeah, I'll call her in. I'll call her in. Molly, come here, girlie. Come here, baby. Okay, Frymuth goes 109. I would have loved having Frymuth or David Njoku make it back to us. These are guys that I'm drafting very often just because wide receivers, running backs in this range aren't as exciting. Okay, the dog doesn't want to come. Sadly, I'm sorry. The dog's not coming. Tygo Noah says, who would you have taken if the clock didn't run out? Honestly, I have no idea, my friend. I was trying to get y'all to tell me who to take. And it sounded like maybe the majority of people in the chat wanted Michael Thomas, so I don't know. I don't know. But let's go ahead and let's move this down. So we are not drafting quarterbacks anymore. Maybe, just maybe, if Rodgers were to fall like 5 more rounds, we would take a third quarterback. In reality, we are just pretty much going to be running back, wide receiver, tight end from here on out. Myers goes 112. NFL Blitz says, should have taken a running back over Treylon Burks. I mean, in the majority of drafts, whenever I'm sitting there at the 8-9 turn, I'm not really ever taking a wide receiver. Like, I'm not really ever taking Michael Thomas there. And instead, I'm going through and grabbing, like, Alvin Kamara, right? I mean, Alvin Kamara is almost there for us in every single draft. And this one, he clearly was not, which is a little hurtful, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. Jason says, should I look at best ball ADP while drafting for redraft? I would say that Underdog Fantasy does have by far and away the best ADP list you're going to find. You have to be smart, though, in how you're adjusting the rankings. I don't necessarily think looking at the ADP list as it stands like this, overall positions, would be the best thing to do. Instead, I think the best thing to do would be like, okay, I want a running back at this pick. Let me look at the Underdog ADP for running backs. I want a wide receiver at this pick. Let me look at the Underdog ADP for wide receivers. And I'd say if you're using that as a tool, you're not going to find a better list anywhere. Okay. Brock says the running backs are money in that range where MT usually goes, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm right there with you, my friend. But sadly, I mean, like we were saying, we just weren't able to grab one. I mean, they went right before us. So Titan Turner goes Darnell Mooney. We're going to take Rashad Penny. I mean, hell, maybe this is the correlation that we get with Jalen Hurts. And we'll go ahead and we'll take Damian Harris as well. I actually drafted a lot of Damian Harris. Now, the primary issue with Harris in my mind is that I do think the Buffalo Bills could end up bringing in another running back. Like, if Buffalo goes into the season with only Damian Harris and James Cook on the roster, I'm very confident with this draft pick. But the primary issue is what happens if they go out there and they sign Ezekiel Elliott, they sign Leonard Fournette, they sign Kareem Hunt, Dalvin Cook gets cut and they sign Dalvin Cook. I mean, there is some uncertainty there. So at quarterback, we're sitting with Jalen Hurts as well as Anthony Richardson. Wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Michael Thomas. Running back, we have Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny, and Damian Harris. Okay. I was happy to go through and make that move. Max says, I've never done best ball. Best advice you can give. So the best thing, the most important thing for best ball is understanding, because there are no waiver wires during the season, you have to be very exact with your roster construction. In a regular fantasy football draft, if you perceive the best value on the board to be a running back, you can go through and you can take that running back no matter what. It doesn't matter if you've already drafted 5 of them, 6 of them. You can go through and you can take one and you can figure out during the season. Maybe we go through and maybe we pick up a wide receiver we like off the waiver wire. Maybe we go through and we trade away one of the running backs. In reality, if you're going to be looking at these underdog drafts where you're not making moves during the season, you're not able to do that. So making the pick is not just as simple as taking best player available. It's also, how does this fit in my roster construction at the ADP that I'm getting them with? So if you're going to go into best ball for the first time, a general rule of thumb is you're going to draft 2 to 3 quarterbacks, 4 to 6 running backs, 2 to 3 tight ends, and the rest of your draft picks are going to be wide receivers. So for instance, if we're going to go through and you're going to look at the sliding scale that we have there, when we're saying you're going to draft 2 to 3 quarterbacks, if I draft Jalen Hurts here at pick 24, then I'm only going to draft 2 because I've already invested so much into the quarterback position, right? Whereas if my first quarterback off the board, say, is Jared Goff here at pick 124 as a hypothetical, then at that point I waited so long at quarterback, I can go through and I can draft 3 of these guys. And you can essentially use that example at every single other position, my friend. But yeah, I mean, I would honestly just say as well, make sure you're watching as many of these live streams as you can with us drafting these teams. I mean, we drafted over 700 of these teams last year, and we're going to draft these teams every single day on the live stream this season. So yeah, it definitely just watch these live streams, understand roster construction, how it matters, and definitely try to pair up teammates as well. But real quick, also, if you haven't signed up for to draft in a best ball league, by far and away the best place to do it is on Underdog. Like, regardless of if I had a promo code on Underdog or not, I'd be telling you by far and away the best place to draft it is on Underdog. And when you go and sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get your deposit match dollar for dollar up to 100. So it's pretty much free for you to check out. And on top of it, you're going to get access to our 2023 best ball rankings, which you can use those rankings in your Underdog draft, of course. Okay. So now Derek Carr goes 136. Cole Kmet goes 137. We want as many quarterbacks off the board as possible. Okay. Cole Kmet goes 137. Let's move this down. So we are doing everything but quarterback. So really the only guy we can't take here would be Jordan Love. Roshan Johnson goes 139 with Antonio Gibson. So Alec Pierce would pair up with Anthony Richardson for us. Grant says McKinnon cannot replicate last year. I just don't see it happening like that again. If you look at the final stat line you had for Jarrett McKinnon this past season, he wasn't that good. Like the very end of the year, yeah, Jarrett McKinnon made some splashes, but for the vast majority of the season, McKinnon really didn't do anything. And the man's going on like 31, 32. And Gustavo says, any good websites to know the strength of schedule per position this upcoming season? We actually have people posting on flockfantasy.com a strength of schedule by team, breaking it down in depth. And it's completely free as well. Go to flockfantasy.com and go to the community articles, and you can find it there. So we're going to take Alec Pierce and Greg Dulcich. Wanted a tight end in general. We don't have a single one yet. And wide receiver, we wanted someone that would pair up with Anthony Richardson. Thought we were going to get Josh Downs a little later on, but you don't know for sure you're going to get Josh Downs or not. So it makes sense just to grab Alec Pierce while we can to pair up with Richardson and then grab a tight end that I've drafted a whole lot of. I mean, I really like the tight ends in this range when the wide receivers and running backs are just pretty damn gross. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's show off this board. Very interesting team. I actually kind of like this team. I could see this team making a splash. So at quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson. At running back, we have Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny, Damian Harris. So we're definitely going to need to draft, in my mind, probably 6 running backs with this team. Wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Michael Thomas, Alec Pierce. Tight end, we have Greg Dulcich. So interesting team. I'd say it's probably a unique one, but we have a little run on tight ends that's going on right now. Interesting. Duke says McKinnon is my number 1 most drafted player by far, over $2,000. Okay, can you clarify this with me, my friend? Are you $2,000 into underdog drafts so far this offseason, or are you saying that you have $2,000 of buy-ins with Jarrett McKinnon? Obviously indicating that you have already spent way more than $2,000 in drafts this year. So let me know. Dear God, my man, you're going hard in the paint there. Let me know. Margaret says, don't forget to smash that like button. 350 likes for another draft. Let's go. Yes, sir. If y'all have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 350 likes in the stream, we will fire up another draft after this one. Jordan Love goes 152. Okay. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 154. We have a couple quarterbacks going. Quarterbacks off the board, obviously great for us. I'd say kind of the same thing about wide receivers. Okay. Luke says, Mason, can you explain why Terry McLaurin over Drake London? More so just balancing in exposure. I mean, here, if you're looking at Drake London, Terry McLaurin, you have Terry McLaurin going higher in the majority of these drafts. So if I really wanted to go through and make a stance and get Drake London, I can. I mean, at a cheaper price later on. Like, let me go ahead and pull up what my exposure is for both these players. Okay. Houseway, happy to see you out here. Says, sup, Mace? Is this a new house, new room, or just a different backdrop? Just wanted to say what's up. I am stoked for this season. Let's go, Flock. Super happy to see you out here, my friend. This is crazy. Obviously, if y'all don't know, Houseway has been a long time member of the Flock. I've always only seen your YouTube profile pic from like a distance, like far away. And for whatever reason, I've always thought it was Darth Vader. In reality, it's a good-looking girl with the bandana. But funny enough, I've looked at this for years thinking it was Darth Vader. But nonetheless, yeah, we moved to a new place. I still need to set up the new studio. I'm going to try my best to set up the new studio today. So hopefully by tomorrow's live stream, we will have a new backdrop and a new studio. It'll be going back to closer to the old look. But I felt like this isn't a bad backdrop. We'll use this occasionally. I felt like it was maybe a good mix, right? Like we don't want to look at the same thing every single time. Kickers Lives Matter decides to go Ezekiel Elliott here at pick 163. Okay. Let's see. Sam Laporta goes 164. I don't know if I've taken Laporta in a single draft. I think all these rookie tight ends are going to be cheaper in September and August than they are now. Grant says, I see Darth Vader from a distance. I've thought for years it was Darth Vader. Margaret Word says, smash that like. Luke saying he wants us to go with Wan'Dale Robinson. It is crazy to see how far Wan'Dale Robinson has been dropping in the majority of these. Gerald Everett goes 166. Clearly, we needed another tight end. Sadly, probably not going to be able to grab one now. Okay. Wan'Dale goes. So we're going to go ahead. We're definitely going to take Devin Singletary. Really like Devin Singletary for this team. The issue is, are we going to grab back-to-back running backs? So we're going to go Devin Singletary and then grab a tight ends. We have 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 4 picks left. We need 2 more tight ends, 2 more running backs. Are we really excited to take Tank Bigsby, Chase Brown? Honestly, I think Jaden Reed's probably the better value here, but I don't want to be taking another wide receiver. I think this team needs another running back. Do we want to take Dawson Knox? Kind of like the value on Knox. What tight ends will be looking at later on? We'll take Bigsby. I mean, hell, maybe he splits the backfield with Travis Etienne. We have a lot of people in the chat wanting to take Bigsby as well. And also, I mean, even if Travis Etienne dominates with like 70, 75% of the touches in that backfield, still a premium handcuff back, or I don't want to say premium handcuff running back, but could see his value rise if anything were to occur to Travis Etienne. So, man, really happy to get Devin Singletary there. That's for damn sure. But looking at this team, quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson. Our puny, sad little correlation that we have with these guys, we have Richardson paired up with Alec Pierce. We have Jalen Hurts paired up with Rashad Penny. Like I said, not too worried about making sure that we have stacking options with these quarterbacks. I definitely would prefer quarterbacks. Now, at the same time, I mean, these quarterbacks don't necessarily need to be stacked up because they provide a lot of rushing upside, and that's the primary reason we're drafting them. Now, wide receiver, we have Jefferson, McLaurin, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Michael Thomas, Alec Pierce. Running back, we have Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny, Damian Harris, Devin Singletary, as well as Tank Bigsby. So, I don't know. It's a whatever team. It's a whatever team. Okay, so Brock says, do you draft with week 17 correlation in mind? To be honest with you, no. I draft trying to get mini correlation on a multitude of different NFL teams. I am not worried about my bringbacks. I don't think this should be treated as if it's just some random DFS tournament contest. Jeep Guy coming out says, let's get some flockers in the chat. Happy to see you out as always, my man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us every single day. And, okay. Carson says, are best ball tourneys usually one drafting early or later? Any clear data on that? I believe Best Ball Mania was one with the team that was drafted in June this past year. There are different arguments to be made for drafting early versus drafting late. The drafting late argument is, on average, teams that are drafted closer to the season score higher than teams that are drafted early. That's on average. And the reason for that is we're drafting a lot of players now in round 16, 17, 18 that may not even be on NFL rosters, that may not even be, having a role this next season, of course. Now, the flip side of that is if you were trying to draft the highest ceiling possible, drafting early, in my mind, is the best way to build super teams. In that if, like, say we are drafting a lot of Alexander Madison round 10, right? Whenever these tournaments just opened up. If Dalvin Cook were to be moved and we have a lot of Alexander Madison round 10, and then the teams that were drafted later have Alexander Madison in round 3 or 4, and Alexander Madison goes out there and is a top 5 running back this next season, we're just going to be crushing the rest of the field that weren't able to get Alexander Madison that late. So it's interesting. There's a push and a pull. I personally try to just get in. Of course, the main reason I'm doing this is it's for fun. Like, the main reason you're getting into best ball drafts is because it is fun. There are arguments to draft early. There are arguments to draft late. I'm drafting if I'm having fun. That's what I'm doing. If I want to get in a draft that day, I'm getting in a draft that day. Okay. So let's swing this around. We still need 2 tight ends. We need another running back as well. Okay, so Hoop State on the clock. Assuming maybe we see a running back go here. No, goes Tyquan Thornton. Okay, I know who we want if he makes it to us. Jeep Guy says, when are we getting those flock emojis for members? I just reached out to Zach about that yesterday. I sent him the specifications for what YouTube needs for the emojis. And I said, my man, go wild. Any ideas that you have, let's get them going. So hopefully soon. It's on his timeline. I told him to take as much time as he needs with it. But yeah, hopefully he has some cool things going in y'all's direction soon. Leonard Fournette goes 187. I was taking Leonard Fournette if he made it to us. I really like mixing in some Fournette, some Zeke, some Hunt at this late. Okay. Let's see. We also need tight ends. There are 2 tight ends that to be looking at. Michael Mayer was one of them. Tajay Spears off the board, 189. We cannot take C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is not in play for us. Stonebuck only has Dak, the team after as both Allen and Tua. So interesting that they go Stroud. I wonder if they could have pushed the envelope there a bit and had Titan Turner passing on him as well. I don't know. Hardman goes. So we're definitely going to take Hayden Hurst as one of our guys. I guess we could go Kenneth Gainwell and maybe draft this team under the thought process that DeAndre Swift goes down or DeAndre Swift does absolutely nothing. And we have Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny, Jalen Hurts. We'll do that. I don't know if we should. It's probably a wasted pick, but at the same time, like Gus Edwards is the next highest running back according to ADP. I usually draft a lot of Kareem Hunt in this range, but I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And let's go ahead and let's queue up our tight end that we'll be looking at next. Okay. Tight end, if we were looking at getting any correlation here. Jelani Woods could be in play to pair up with Anthony Richardson. Nolan says Sutton emoji, please. Love it, my man. Love it. Okay. I think we're probably going to be looking at like Jelani Woods. Maybe even mix in Jake Ferguson. Then McBride, Ertz. And then, of course, we'll just queue up the rest down. But it looks like we're not hitting 350 likes in this live stream. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start recording the video that will come out tomorrow. It'll be a Dynasty video. I need to record a Dynasty video. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. As always, if you want to get in one of these drafts with us, we'll be live tomorrow. We'll be live the next day. We'll be live the day after that. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And if you are a member of both flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy, make sure you go fill out the Google form in the Discord. That way I can get you your exclusive merch. And also, if you're a member of flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy, very, very soon we have instructions on how to just claim your extra Underdog credit. But thank you so much. Really do appreciate y'all, and really do hope y'all have a great day.